If you've been watching the channel, then you know that my Hasbro experience is that it's overpriced. And when it's $27.99 for Mara Jade, so how do we improve that experience? By paying $56 for this blob of a toy. Well, that's fitting. Let's open it up. But before we do that, let's look at the box. Duh. It's like I forgot how this channel works. So in front of the box, we've got a figure shot with some comic art in the background. This is my least favorite kind of box without plastic. I like when they are like this, when it's art. So we've got this big box, plastic-free packaging. Again, everyone's favorite. Okay, side of the box, figure shot. Side of the box, comic shot. Now I like that. Why couldn't we do that on the front? The bottom, we've just got a lot of information. None of it's very fun. In the back of the box, we've got the figure, and then we know what accessories are included. So not a lot. A couple extra hands and an extra head. So $56. Not looking good for you so far. So let this video be a warning. I paid for this video. Nope, I paid for this figure so that you can learn whether it's worth it or not. It's not gonna be worth it. Now he is very heavy. It is a very big box. Obviously that's what they're trying to say is making the price worth it. But I guess it's cheaper than paying for a bunch of figures to do a Build-A-Figure. But there's this paper that's always included. It's basically nonsense. It's got a very interesting touch. All right, so there we go. We got a couple extra hands and the head. And the biggest thing that I noticed right off the bat about him, besides being like very heavy and being one of the largest figures from Marvel that I have picked up, awful joints, and he's got these like freckles, I guess, because he's a redhead. So these are what, freckles? Liver spots? He's not old enough for liver spots. All right, so let's look at the details overall. So we've got these extra hands, which, I mean, the sculpting's great. He's obviously a one-off figure. They're not probably gonna reuse any of these parts for other characters, I can't imagine. I mean, maybe the hands they could use for larger figures, but this seems like an all original thing. You're getting the detail and original sculpt work that you want on all of your figures. You know, you look at some of these other brands and that are smaller companies. Oh, that looks awful. You look at some of these other brands that are, you know, one-off companies, and we can just reference NECA, as I always do. But NECA, they do original sculpts for pretty much everything. I mean, sometimes they do the Ninja Turtles and they'll like repeat some of the pieces, but every time they make a new character, like the monster line, that's all original stuff. They don't reuse parts. But as far as this thing goes, I mean, this is like, I would say a deluxe premium item out of the Marvel Legends series. And that, the reason being, not because of his size and his awful price, but look, we got veins in the forehead. We've got this incredible paintwork all around the eyes. Like, how close can I get this to the camera? Look at the eyes. Lashes have color. The mouth, there's like a wet tongue look. This is definitely premium for Marvel. I mean, there's still some like sad imperfections, like all the lines, the mold lines and stuff. I mean, face details are spectacular. I'm honestly really blown away with how good that face looks. And is it because it's so large? They don't do this very often. This level of detail you rarely see, at least with my experience. But that face looks really great. I mean, goodness sakes. The paintwork, the cheeks, the freckles, again, looking really nice. Now here, getting into the yellow, it looks like it could have used certainly a couple more layers of paint, because you're taking yellow and putting it on this dark blue, and obviously we're having some problems with that. It doesn't come through as well. You get this overlap where the paint touched here and here, and then now it looks as thick as it should be all over. So that's a little unfortunate. So just not getting the amount of pigmentation, I guess you could say, that we would need. But the texture that's going on in here in his clothing looks really nice. This feels like a totally different type of plastic. It looks like it is stretchy fabric. I'm really impressed with some of the things that they've done, and then really bothered by some of the other choices, like the paint. I guess with a figure this big, you're either not going to have any articulation at all, or you're just going to have to deal with these very large, unfortunate joints. Now, for the most part, I think I would have his arms bent in a pose, so maybe it's not going to be that bad. But details, it really, again, always shines in the sculpt work for the most part. The paint is actually coming through on the face very well. I just wish we could have gotten some extra levels of yellow. So that's it. I mean, there's not a lot of stuff here. There's not a lot of accessories, obviously. So let's look at the articulation and see if this thing is even worth messing with as a pose, which I think we might be surprised. I mean, there's a huge gap back here. So let's take a look. So starting with the head, the default head, we could spin it to the side, so you can't go all the way around without it popping off. So you can look to the left, look to the right. You can look up. Oh, actually better than I expected. That big neck hole's working really well. So he can look up pretty well and down much more than I would have thought. He's got head tilt, so this is turning out to be very nice as far as the head articulation goes. He really goes wherever you would want him to. The shoulders are gonna go straight out, and these feel like very hollow compared to this feeling like a big, heavy, like there's a lot of stuff going on inside here, but these feel hollow. But the arms go straight out into a T pose, rotate there, no problem. Then we have the elbow, which does rotate, and as we saw, this giant seam goes into like basically a 90-degree bend. Then we have the wrist, which is gonna spin, and the kind of typical hinge point on the wrists. So it's actually pretty good, better than I would have expected so far. The torso spins all the way around. Let's see, he's got a little bit of ab crunch, which is great for a big figure. I wonder, did the old one have this kind of articulation? The side to side is actually really good. Wow, nicely done. There's no rotation here, which would be a little off shape anyway if he could. But the legs, he can actually almost do full splits, which does look a little weird. Full kick forward, backwards, pretty nice. So based on the joint that's going on in here, it really is just gonna kind of open. It's not gonna swivel in there. It's not like a ball joint, but you know, classic Hasbro always doing that thigh swivel. Then we have the knee, which is just kind of a long thing like the elbow is. So you do get better articulation than I would have expected, most certainly. Now this yellow and this yellow look great because these are different pieces of material. They're not painted over, which really throws off the look of this to here and here. The wrists and the shoulders are just super desaturated, and you know, like what? That's really unfortunate. So yeah, so that's a little frustrating that this actually looks like it would rotate at the boot, and it doesn't. So you just have the thigh swivel, and then you have the ankle, which does the same thing it does on any figure, really, from pretty much any brand. And then you've got, let's see, what kind of, not bad. So that, yeah, that's his articulation. The head, obviously, we saw a second ago, just pops right off. It's not real tight or real hard to deal with. This is obviously the best head as well. No question in my mind that that is how he has to be displayed. I mean, when you make the mouth wet like that, my God, come on. How can you not use that head sculpt? Who's using this one? You tell me down in the comments. Are you using that one? Because I don't, why? Why would you do that? Yeah, I don't know. So we got the hands, we can pop those out. So he's basically gonna have two open hands, one a little bit more than another, which, you know, might be good for holding different characters because I'm sure he's gonna be gripping some people. And then you just got two fists. Good so far. Let's get into posing. All right, so there we go with the Blob. Now, The things I want to say about this, I've already said. It's the problem comes down to the paint and the arms and the shoulders. They really just missed a couple layers of paint to get to that level, or just do what you did here and have like strips of plastic or whatever. Anyway, so rating this thing, we're gonna talk about the details. I think are surprisingly really good in a lot of places and then lacking in a couple others, but that head sculpt, the paint work around that head bumps this guy up definitely to a 4 out of 5 on the details. This is some of the best I've seen from Marvel when in Hasbro when it comes to paint work and faces. This is really, really good. I don't understand. And I guess that comes with the price. Maybe. So then articulation, which is really surprising how much you can get out of this guy. So based on his size and everything, this is really, really incredible. I mean, you have to kind of deal with these gigantic holes back down here. And then this, which is fine on the back side. But wow, I'm gonna give him a 3 out of 5, which is way more than I would have expected from this. Which brings us into posing, and posing was a lot of fun. So you can actually do more than you would think with this guy, and based on his size and his expressions and stuff, I mean, obviously he doesn't need a lot of accessories, just like alternate hands would be nice, but he's got this awesome alternate head. So posing, I'm gonna give him a 4 out of 5. Now, the biggest question is he worth $56? And gosh, I mean, I definitely came into this thinking that there's not even a chance that he would be worth that. But now I'm thinking, maybe. So when it comes to being worth it, man, it's $56. Comparing that to NECA and Super 7, I don't know. There are a lot of other brands out there. Some brands that I've messed with, some I haven't, SH Figure Arts and stuff. God bless, I don't know. He is huge. He looks great. I know so much that with Hasbro, they could afford to do this thing cheaper. They just could. Make him 40 or 45, but $56, almost 60 bucks for this guy. I'm gonna say no. He's not worth it. He's great, he's fantastic, but you know, like Hasbro being probably one of the largest toy companies ever, because they're all around the world. It's a brand that can be international. Not a lot of these other ones can, like NECA and Super 7, and they're doing prices similar, lower, you know, yeah, I don't know. I don't know that you would even be able to get this guy at a discounted rate though, because of the, like how often do they make a Blob? I don't think often. Was the last one a Build-A-Figure or was he his own? I think a Build-A-Figure. Anyway, I don't know if you're gonna be able to wait for him to go down in price, you know, but, and I don't know that he's gonna hit other stores. I know he's hitting other online retailers, but is he gonna be in like Walmarts or Targets or something? I don't know. So if you're a big Marvel Legends like collector, then yeah, he's probably gonna be worth it for you. But for the rest of us that just kind of get a few things, I don't think he's worth it. But I say that, and I'm sure that the market value on him will go up like crazy in a few months or a year or something like that. So make your best call. Make your own call. Did I help you at all by putting it back in your hands? I don't know. But if you have not watched this other Marvel Legends review that I've done, then please watch this one here. We'll see you next time.